Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. What a roller coaster of a game. A test match finished in 1.5 days, not even 2 days. Incredible, just like wickets flying everywhere. Every ball it could have been a wicket. Unbelievable stuff. Couldn't believe it. Joe Root picking up 5 wickets, then Akshar Patel answering that with another 5 wicket haul. But in the end, Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma, they chased down the total comfortably without any hiccups, and India win the game by 10 wickets. I have with me my co-host, Brother Aziz. What's up, man? How did you enjoy that?
I'm good. I'm good. Quick end to the game, quicker than I would have thought.
Bro, next level stuff. Every ball was just a wicket, and let's just start from the beginning of the day. I don't know where to start, but let's start with the beginning of the day. India 100 for three. Then it was like 114 for three. They took the lead, and then suddenly it just went bust. Root came in and just pulled an incredible spell. Yeah, your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think Joe Root's spell was.
We have Uzi in the house. Sorry about that. We have Uzi in the house as well. Uzi, what's up?
Not doing too bad. Not doing too bad.
It's good. It's good. It's good. Yeah, Don, you were talking about Joe Root's spell.
Yeah, I felt like Joe Root was incredible. He's a part-time bowler, so I mean, hats off to him. But it does show the purchase that the pitch had for everyone. Like anyone who was able to go and turn their hands around was able to get purchase from this pitch. It got me thinking, and I know both of you don't agree with this point in terms, but it got me thinking, if a part-time spinner can get this kind of purchase, there is something that is a little bit off in that pitch. I mean, I'm all for taking home advantage.
No.
I completely agree that there should be significant home advantage.
I absolutely agree with you, Don.
Huh?
I do agree with you that a part-timer taking 5 wickets for literally 8 runs and causing such trouble.
Yeah, sorry, Uzi. It's making a little, so I wasn't sure if you were talking, but I'm just thinking to the point that I completely agree with taking homegrown advantage and everything, but I just feel like we shouldn't underestimate our fast bowlers as well. Like the likes of Bumrah and Ishant Sharma are very good bowlers. So maybe keep just a shade of green on the first couple of days. Give something of a different challenge, and then 3, 4, 5. If it turns like this, I'm totally fine. I just don't want it to turn from day one the way it kind of did. So I think that's just my thing. I mean, something that maybe the pitch guys can learn from. It's a new pitch. It's a new stadium. You don't want it to turn from day one. That's something that I've just been thinking. I'm totally for taking home advantage. This is just something on a slightly different note of what I've been talking about over the past 2 tests. So.
Uzi, but I just wanted to ask you on that, the topic of the pitch. Do you think the batting was an issue as well, or just like, I mean, today the pitch was doing all sorts, but like day one, do you think the England and Indian batsmen today in the morning, they could have done better because it was the straighter one which was getting them out. They were playing for the spin. If the spin beats, they should have maybe played for the straighter ball, and if the spin beats you outside, that's fine, like a green track. Maybe they should have taken that approach.
Yeah, we spoke about this yesterday. I don't know. I don't get it why they couldn't just play for the ball coming in, like you said, the straighter one, because the most that'll happen if the ball does spin it'll just be the outside edge, wouldn't it? And just like on a green track, you're just playing for the ball which is coming in when it's moving both ways. There's not much harm which can happen if it goes the other way. But yeah, to your original question though, what we talked about yesterday was, especially the first innings, England's first innings, was they had themselves to blame for a lot of those dismissals. We talked about how they didn't use their feet enough. Root, again, I just can't understand how he went back to that full Ashwin delivery, the one he got out to. And we also discussed how he probably and
Okay, I think we lost you. Uzi, we lost you. If you hear us, just come back.
Yeah.
Uzi, yeah, Don.
We'll carry on.
Yeah, Don. So I was going to ask you about. So he was talking about the way Root and stuff, how they're playing for the straighter ball. Do you think that there's a lapse in technique for both teams? Like, Indians growing up, we saw Azharuddin, Rahul Dravid, what's his name, Lakshman, Tendulkar, Ganguly, all these guys were much better players of spin. Do you think it's because they played more apart from Tendulkar, they played more first-class cricket and that's why they were better players of spin?
I agree. I think that it's very difficult to kind of place that. I think that with the kind of cricket, I mean, it's almost difficult to kind of compare them to someone like a Rahul Dravid or a Azharuddin or a Lakshman, because the kind of cricket that was played at that time and the kind of cricket that's played at this time is very different. There's
But I'm talking about the technique against spin, though.
Sorry?
The technique against spin, though.
Yeah, I agree, but the problem is when are they going to find the time to play that kind of cricket? Because there's so much more competitive cricket that's being played. The likes of IPL, there's T20, there's ODIs, and there's just not enough time. I completely agree that there has to be a way that some of these guys can learn and try to get playing first class cricket in their schedules. But it's getting difficult with the advancement of cricket and with the amount of cricket that all of these guys are playing. So that's the hard part of this. With that being said, I think that there has to, yes, I agree with you. There has to be a little bit more effort put in on those lines and figure out a way that they can do that. And hopefully that will help the spinners. But I feel like the application was also missing from both the teams. I think even in the first innings when India was getting bundled out, I just felt like there were a few. I'm giving due respect to Root, but the kind of you have to understand how he's bowling and try to work around that. So maybe a little bit more application was what I was looking for. I wasn't expecting 145. I mean, I was when I made my prediction yesterday, I said 300, which was, I thought, a significantly higher amount than I genuinely thought that they would make. But I didn't expect them to be bundled out for 145. I mean, England has been struggling, but that's the thing. England hasn't figured it out. But the worry this time was India at 145 all out was a problem for me.
Yeah, the reason why I'm picking this out is because we've even seen in the IPL the likes of Virat Kohli, the likes of Rohit Sharma, even Rahane to a certain extent, they do get dismissed by the spinner. Let it be the leg spinner or the off spinner, they do get dismissed by spin. So that's why I'm kind of concerned. Like if you make these pitches, if England played with two proper spinners or it could have been a different story. So the technique worries me a bit. Uzi, your thoughts on especially the Indian batsman's technique?
Yeah, I can't go into Shubman Gill too much because it's his first series. You can't be too tough on the guy because it's not a case of temperament, which he just needs more experience. And but then when it comes to people like Pujara and Kohli, I was the most disappointed by because he looked fluent, he looked solid, and again, especially after getting dropped. It was too close to cut. That Rahane and Pujara, when you look at it, Pujara again could have used his feet. But I don't want to be too hard on Pujara as well because more often than not you'd back him to succeed. Rahane, I don't know what it is. He played a really good innings in the second match, but all which looked very innocuous at the time and had nothing to do with just a mental block. I don't think it had much to do with the pitch at all. Nothing to do with the pitch. It's just a mental block he has. I don't see what more I could comment, but apart from that, yeah, this is the top order, which we can't even look into Washington, Sundar or Rishabh when we had a free collapse. But really questionable, yeah.
Yup, and Don, coming back to the day. The way after England got back into the game, I think if they had a 150 run lead, it would have been a very difficult chase for India. But the way India bowled again, brilliant. Akshar Patel on this pitch has been unbelievable, and Ashwin got into the groove as well. Just a word on Ashwin, 400 wickets, and when a younger spinner, more inexperienced spinner, is taking so many wickets, like first 2-3 balls he's got a wicket, you struggle first 2-3 overs, but to still to keep that confidence going and keep that, like, he just backs his skill. Just your word on just a word on Ashwin and his 400 wickets.
Yeah, I mean, Ashwin, you know my love for Ashwin. I've always been a very big fan of Ashwin. He's been one of the most consistent performers for India in Test matches, and a few years back even in the ODIs. But of course he hasn't been playing ODIs lately. But in the Test matches, he's been incredible, and I think that his 400 wickets is a testament to the kind of player he is. He's an absolute legend. Always sticking to his guns. He believes in his skill sets, and he's doing an incredible job, and he's continuing to do it. And hopefully some more wickets for him as well. Before he decides to retire or something. I'm hoping maybe that 500 as well. It'd be a nice way to go off on the 500. But yeah, he's an absolute legend. He backs his skills, and hats off to him. Well done to him as well. And to the point of Akshar Patel, I mean, he has been phenomenal over the past 2 Test matches. India obviously missed him a lot in the first Test match because unfortunately Shahbaz Nadeem was not able to deliver the goods that we were expecting off of him. But hats off to Akshar Patel as well. Yes, the pitch is terrible. It's favoring the spinners a lot and everything, but you still have to go out there and bowl in the right areas to get those wickets, and he did that incredibly well. So 11 wickets in the match for him. So good on him as well. And both these guys were incredible. It's just nice to see Washi get a wicket in the end just to finish it off as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw the opening first 30 overs of that third innings, it was 15 overs Akshar, 15 overs Ashwin. Bumrah and Ishant just chilling, man. Uzi's, your thoughts on Ashwin and getting to that 400 landmark, and then your thoughts on Akshar Patel as well.
Oh man, he's 5 tests slower than Murli in getting to 400 wickets.
Second fastest to get to 400.
Yeah, so that's quite remarkable. And we always knew how dangerous he is at home, especially when you have these type of pitches. But it goes back all the way till 2013 when he made his debut. But what's the best thing about Ashwin is I was the most impressed by him was in the Australia tour, because he was it just looked like a different bowler. It looks like he's working hard and he just wants to put that label away of him being a home track bully. The way he made life so difficult for Steve Smith and Labuschagne was just so refreshing to see, because it's never been we always knew that he's such a hard worker, and his teammates always considered him the hardest working cricketer. And now it's finally good to see that aspect kick in, where he's willing to perform overseas, and more than that, you can see how much of a positive impact it's having on his batting, because with his batting back into full flow, India just looks like a much different test team, a much better test team. You can finally say that they are one of the best test teams now, with Ashwin back to his all-round best. And that pretty much sums it up regarding Ashwin. So
one question here, Don, for you. Do you think India will ever make a pitch like Perth and win in India? Puneet is asking.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, that's why I mentioned it earlier as well.
It depends who the opposition is. If it's an Asian team, I think they would. I think that first pink ball test against Bangladesh in the Eden Gardens, that was a Perth kind of wicket. Umesh Yadav steaming in and picking up 5 wickets. So I think it depends on who the opposition is. No, you don't want you don't want Pat Cummins bowling on a Perth type wicket in India.
Yeah, I think that it would be a good challenge for India. I don't think it'll ever happen to the extent, but at least just give them a hint of grass. Give them something to work with on day 1 and 2, and don't forget, Jasprit Bumrah and Ishant Sharma. These guys can also exploit those conditions very well. So if let's say England or in Australia go out to bat first, the likes of Bumrah and Ishant can actually be a handful on those kind of slightly. I'm not saying have like green tops where it swings all 5 days, but at least just give them something to work with on day 1, day 2 in the first session. Something like first few overs, give them something to work with, And then day 3, 4, and 5, if it spins, that's fair enough. That's the home advantage that you're taking. But from the first ball, you see the puff of dust that comes out every ball that's bowled onto the ground. I just feel like that's a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a catch-22 situation because the thing is, in the first Test match, I think it was more like a traditional wicket where it favors the batsman, and then day 4, day 5, it becomes really good for the bowlers. But then they wanted to take the toss out of the equation. Then once you do that, then you have to make it a turner. So I think that's what happened. That first Test match, I think it kind of worried India because Root batted magnificently, and I think they wanted to, if they lose the toss, they didn't want to risk that again. So batting on day 5, whereas here, the toss kind of goes out of the equation, and it's whoever plays spin better or whoever bowls better, whoever spins the ball more, and whoever plays the spin better and lasts longer wins the game. So maybe that's the reason. They went like that, but yeah, it's kind of a catch-22 situation. And I think even Ashish saying no need for Perth pitches spin to win in India, I think that's true, because until we see a pitch like this at Perth, I don't think India really need to worry about that. But you're right, I think there needs to be something there for the batters as well. It can't be this kind of pitch, because 1.5, 2 days Test match is really not what you want, right? You want it to go like the Gabba, what you saw the Gabba. Even the first Test match, it went till day 5. There was still India was still in the game, even though it was a difficult pitch to bat on. So you probably want something like that in Test cricket. For the broadcasters and advertisers, it's really bad as well. Now, what are they going to do for 3.5 days, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So at a Test match, you probably want to create a wicket.
It just doesn't look good on Test cricket with the way this match finished. It finished in less than 2 days. You still had a few overs left on day 2 as well. So that's not good, because you lost 40. Not 40, but at least 30 wickets fell on within 2 days. That's just not acceptable in my opinion. Yes, you take advantage, but just give them a little bit. This same exact thing would have happened on day 4. I'd be totally okay. Just day 2 was just not acceptable for me personally.
Yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree with that, with you as well. And Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, they showed that you can bat on that wicket, but of course it was a low score. But I still felt England could have taken 3-4 wickets in that 4th inning. So to come out and finish the game, no hiccups at all. I think that was a great job, because this pitch, it looked like from ball 1 it's turning and you can get out, like we saw in that England innings. Akshar Patel striking with in the first over 2 wickets down England. So it could have happened for India as well. But Rohit Sharma and Gill coming into it and batting really well.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. I mean, they showed a professional performance of finishing it off. England, I felt like England could have tried a little bit harder, but I just felt like they were somewhat given up. A little bit of inevitability. Sorry, I couldn't. But yeah, I just felt like they kind of gave up. But yeah, they should have tried a little bit harder. But it was just a matter of time before India finished it off. And hats off to them, professional by both Rohit and Gill. A few nice shots towards the end to just finish it off nicely. I mean, both of them had a nice 6, so good on them to finish it off the way they did. Hats off.
Yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree with you. And for you, your player of the match? Could you hear me?
I kind of lost you there.
No, I think your player of the match.
Akshar Patel, I mean, 11 wickets. It's hard to look anywhere else. I mean, it's only his 2nd Test match. The performance that he gave and the consistency that he bowled with was quite nice.
Yeah, and a great question from Ashish. I think they were discussing this as well on the broadcast. Do you think after the dismissal of Root while playing that sweep shot in the 2nd Test match, I think to Akshar Patel only, he stopped playing it? Is he scared to get out, or is it playing on his mind? That's why he's going into his shell? Because he's put that sweep shot away. He played it a lot in the 1st Test match, but now when the pitch is starting to turn, you saw that extra bounce did him in the 2nd Test match, and now he's very hesitant playing that shot.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm very surprised, because it was giving him a lot of value in the 1st Test, and even in Sri Lanka, if you remember, he was sweeping it all the time. I just don't know what happened, and he's so much hesitance for getting out one time on it. I just feel like he should try it a little bit more. and going back is not helping his case at all. Like he's getting caught trapped in the back, so he has to move forward and be a little bit more attacking. Yes, he got out once, but I think that doesn't change the fact that that's a good shot and good value shot to have in the books, and use it every now and again to even make the bowlers think every now and again. That's important, I think. So yeah, I'm surprised that he suddenly gave up on it after losing his wicket one time. Maybe get back in there for a little bit. For sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's a really good answer. Really good question there as well. And moving on to the next game, what's going to happen with the pitch, man?
I just hope that there's a little bit more more in there for a little bit of more. A little more of a contest. I've been like broken record saying that you should be taking advantage of the home conditions, but not to this extent. You shouldn't misuse it. I just felt like this was a little bit of a misuse.
But I have a question. Do you prefer something like this where the toss is out of the equation, or do you prefer that more traditional pitch and give the toss a bit more weight like a traditional test match?
Because it's for several years that's been the case, right? The toss is somewhat important in a test match, and that's totally understandable. I mean, that's the kind of way that the game goes on.
Yeah,
unfortunately, you have a little bit more. You're a little bit more on the back foot, but you have to have that little bit more of an extra skill to be able to pull off a bigger win. So if you're able, I don't think that should be a big problem. I'm just saying put a hint of green in there, just a little bit more carry, a little bit more purchase off the wickets, even for the faster bowlers, not only the spinners. Give the fastest bowlers a chance as well. And show your skill. It's about leaving the ball. It's about waiting for the bad balls and putting them away. So that way you use the Test cricket to the fullest of its glory. So that's kind of what I'm. Put a hint of green. A couple of days there's some movement for the bowlers, a little bit for the batsmen to work with as well. And then pitch crumples day 4-5. Be rank turner. Be like how it was in today's day.
Basically, make it a first innings contest. Whoever scores more wins the game in the first innings.
Exactly.
Because in that game as well, if India, even though they lost that toss, if they restricted England 100 less runs instead of 570, if they made like 450 and India scored 100 or 200 more runs, they could have won the test match. So
and they could have, that's what it is. If not won, at least definitely drawn it, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. They could run it, and we saw that at the Gabba and Sydney. That toss advantage was there for Australia. It was a really good pitch to bat on first, and then day 4, day 5, we saw that big crack at the Gabba. Honestly, I felt it was impossible to chase that score down, but India did it. So that's where your skill is tested, and I think I completely agree with you. It should be something like that, where the first innings of both teams, the pitch is a bit even, and then it deteriorates for both teams in the second innings. So I think I completely agree with you with that. And another question, Ashish, Stokes, Ashwin's love for Stokes, he's been getting him out a lot recently. The off spinners like bowling to left-handers, but what's this thing happening with Stokes? Is just finding it difficult?
We spoke about this yesterday also briefly. The fact that Stokes is being so cautious makes me wonder what's going on with his mindset, because he's a champion player. I just don't understand why that would be in terms of he is an attacking player. Why would you go off on and change your game plan and the way you play and the attacking style that you have just because you want to I don't know what you want to do. That's your style. Just stick to your style. If you would have stick to his style, I think he would have been able to score a few more runs. Even today, when we saw him score those 15-20 runs, he was showing a little bit of an attacking intent. But I don't know, with Ashwin, he's just worried. It's obviously when you have a bunny, when you know
it's like that Smith situation as well. Yeah.
When you we remember Zair Khan with Graham Smith. Every time with Graham Smith, you could tell that he's playing on his head. I feel like a similar situation is starting to arise with Ashwin and Stokes. So I just feel like he should, be a little bit more attacking, show a little bit more intent, come down the track a couple of times, give Ashwin a little bit more to think. Ashwin is just tossing it up, giving him not enough space, trapping him at the back and getting out more often than not. Give Ashwin a little bit more to think. That's it.
Yep. No, I agree with you. And just last few questions before I let you go down. Puneet and Yusuf both talking about Kohli. Puneet's asking, will he score a century and will Kohli score a century in 2021? And to add to that, Yusuf is asking, is Kohli's long-term form an issue that's being hidden by performances by others and the bowlers as well?
Kohli is
To be honest, he's got 350s in the last 4 or 5 Test matches. But,
that's what I'm saying. By his very high standards, you think he's failing, but he scored 50s, he scored 70s. You know, like
yeah, I'm not too worried about his batting. I think captaincy he can improve definitely on this pitch. You don't really need captaincy, but I think tactics he needs to improve. I think set more aggressive fields. But in terms of batting, I was actually disappointed with his first innings, though. What did you think? Like, he was trying to get at the ball. He wasn't as decisive in his footwork like Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma, yes, he did get out, but he was very decisive, and that's why he was allowed to hit those boundaries. Stepping out and playing the spinner. We saw in the second innings as well. Kohli wasn't as decisive. He didn't know whether to go back or stay in front, and he played for the spin and got out exactly like Rahane. So was that kind of concern for you?
A little bit. Uzi also mentioned it. The disappointment that he saw. It's important that he understands the kind of way he's getting out. Sometimes he's getting out to ways that you feel like are disappointing. I mean, for the batsman of his caliber, he shouldn't be getting out on the way he kind of did, especially in the first innings. A little bit more intent. Maybe it was the last over of the day, so he just lost a little bit of concentration. But that's not what we expect from him. We expect him to be there at 100% and show what he's got. It was a little bit unfortunate, but I think that yes, he needs to definitely show a little bit more intent. I think I'm not worried for his long-term game. I think that he's still an incredible batsman. I don't think that he's definitely going to score a century in 2021. It's just a matter of when, if not, and not if. I think he'll get to it at some point. But I think a little bit more intent. I just feel like there are, and it's very odd for me to say this because I don't expect that from him. But I just felt like a 1 or 2 lapses of concentration I've seen over the past few innings from him, which is unfortunate.
For you, the best Indian batsman to play spin in this current lineup?
Rohit
Sharma. Yep. And another question, just wickets like these, umpires are always under pressure. Do you think the Indian umpires are doing a decent job, or is it a disadvantage to the visiting team? Puneet is asking this. I think that the umpires are doing poorly, man. Like Shamsuddin on the first day, bro, I don't know what he was doing. I thought he probably thought he was on the pitch umpiring. Third umpire is supposed to look at all the angles. He did that kind of in the today, but that Rohit Sharma stumping, he didn't look at it. So the Stokes catch, I don't think he looked at it properly. I think umpiring has been very poor, and if the players can quarantine, why can't international players quarantine and stay in the bio bubble?
Umpiring has been abysmal. Unfortunately, the umpiring is so poor. It's almost. I have no words to explain the way the umpiring has been. I mean, the umpiring, even when we have international standard umpires coming in as well, you've seen a few lapses of judgment over there. You've seen a few poor decisions been given, but this is just taken to another level where I don't know what else to say. It was poor, no doubt about it. England has every right to be upset about it, upset about a few decisions that they went. Like when Pujara was taking that catch of who was it? I think it was Ollie Pope in the first innings. I think he looked at 7 different angles of and even though I think that Stokes catch was not out, he looked at it for 3 seconds.
Exactly. That's not acceptable, man. Even the stumping, I thought
give it a good enough. Sorry, I just give it a fair shout at it. He's still not out. I mean, maybe he was extremely convinced, but just make sure. That's the point. You have all this technology, you have all these angles to make 100% sure. So I still think that was not out though, but just go for it a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was, especially that stumping, like they should have looked at it 2-3 times. I don't know why they didn't look at it. I completely agree with that. Just a few more questions. Let me just see. Stumping of Rohit decision, catch by Stokes. It's the first time I saw umpires. Yeah, exactly. You know what actually was hilarious though, Don, about the umpiring? Today, did you see Root? He was given out. This is before he got out. He was given out. He reviewed it, and the third umpire said not out because the bat and ball was right next to each other, and there was a spike. So he gave it not out. And Kohli went and jumped on the umpire, the main umpire, and you could see the umpires like, why the hell did the third umpire reverse this? Like, he was so upset. You could see he was more upset than Kohli. Like, why did reverse this? So there's a lot of pressure now, and with these pitches, the ball's going to turn more. Like the height as well to judge is going to be difficult, so it's going to get more difficult in the next Test match.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. I mean, the umpiring, unfortunately, I don't think that there's a fix for it in the next test match. I think it's going to continue to be poor because, like, there's nothing you can do. I mean, these guys are probably going to be the same umpires in the next test match as well. There is a lot of pressure. Hopefully, like, just be a little bit more decisive. Just be a little bit more, I feel like they can take a little bit more control in the middle when people are jumping
Were
on.
the on-field umpires as well? Sorry to cut you, but were the on-field umpires also poor for you? Yusuf was asking, just to add to your point anyway.
I honestly thought that they were not terrible. They were not terrible. They were not as terrible as the TV umpire, which has a lot, because the TV umpire has a lot more technology to his. These guys are looking at it with their bare eyes, and they gave a few decent decisions. Yes, there were a couple of poor decisions here and there as well. But I think that the likes of with the kind of technology that the TV umpire had, I thought the on-field umpires did a better job.
No, I completely agree with you. Don, there's like one last question here. Move your hand a bit. Show me your shirt, your badge. Because there's a question saying, do you think Manchester United is the best club in EPL? So I don't think the person Ashish asked. Huh?
Please tell me who asked this question.
Ashish asked this question. I think he's a West Brom fan, but yeah, he's asking is Manchester United the best.
I being a West Brom fan, and I will not answer that question. I know he's a United fan, but I don't know personally know him, but United is in the bubble like a lot of these guys are. Wait for it to crash.
Donny, just to wrap up, I think I took a lot of your time. Just your thoughts for the next game. Any changes for England, for India? Of course, it'll depend on the pitch, but I don't know how they're going to change this pitch, because this is a brand new stadium and the pitch was like this. But they definitely will need to try to, the game should at least last for 3-4 days, man. So I don't know what they're going to do. But
I don't know what. I don't know what they're going to do to improve it, but hopefully a little bit of a better pitch. I think India is fine. I think England definitely need to look at another spinner for sure.
England and Dom Bess, right?
Dom Bess, most likely, because that's the only option that they have.
100%. I think that wraps up everything. Thank you guys for joining us. All the questions were great. Don, thank you so much. Any last thoughts on the game? You want to say anything about the pitch, about the commentators, about the batting, anything else?
No, I mean, I'm very happy that the game finished in 2 days. It makes me not want to get up early in the morning again tomorrow, so that's a good thing. But apart from that, I just hope that there's more competition in the game in the next match. That's it.
And any changes in their batting? Puneet is asking. Sorry, for England.
For England, I think that they are okay. I think that, like I said, I mean, if you want to bring in maybe a Dan Lawrence, because Johnny Bairstow looked absolutely out of sorts over there. But Johnny Bairstow is an incredible batsman, so maybe give him. Maybe he's hardly faced a few balls here, so it's going to be very hard. I think that the batting lineup is okay. If the pitch gives them a little bit more to play with, I think they'll do okay.
I think they will definitely do okay. And to be very honest with you, I think both teams could have batted better on this pitch. I don't think the game would have lasted more than 3 days. But I think at least it should have gone to the third day, to be very honest with you. I think India should have got like 100 leads and England fight back. And it could have been but yes, like to be honest, that second last session I saw, and the first session, there were some very difficult balls to bowl, but a lot of the deliveries were straight on. So I think both teams will need to work on their batting, and we hope to see another great game, but hopefully like more days to watch cricket, because I don't know what I'm going to do next 3 days. So
but maybe at least go on to day 4.
Definitely. And I think that wraps it up. Let's focus on the football until then, and then I'll see you just before the next test match in Ahmedabad in Gujarat.
Yep, looking forward to it.
All right, take care, man. Thank you.